The corn is getting high as we hit the dog days of summer here in the Happy Valley. And as we begin our tilt towards the fall, it's time for our annual Best of Mel on this edition of the Center of It All. Good morning and welcome to this edition of the Center of It All. Andrew Callista filling in for Sarah Bennick, who's off celebrating her honeymoon. How about that? Still going strong after 2 weeks. You guys go. Looking for a summer appetizer perfect to start any meal off on the right path? Mel has got you covered.
If you have a vegetable garden or a husband with a vegetable garden, you're looking for creative ways to cook with zucchini right about now. Today, I'm going to show you how to make one of my family's favorite appetizers. Batter-dipped, panko-crusted, deep-fried zucchini. And I'm serving it with my version of Happy Valley, Hidden Valley ranch dressing. Let's get started. 50 years ago, nobody'd ever even heard of ranch dressing. Now it's America's favorite dressing, even ahead of Italian dressing. Back in 1954, a plumbing contractor from Alaska bought a ranch in Santa Barbara, California. Steve Henson named his ranch the Hidden Valley Ranch. Besides raving about the food and the entertainment, the guests loved his salad dressing. Then, one day, a customer came up to him and asked to buy 300 bottles of his dressing to take back to Hawaii. Henson didn't have 300 bottles, so he put all of his dry spice blend in some envelopes and told the customer to add a quart of buttermilk and a quart of mayonnaise to each envelope when they got back to Hawaii. Shortly thereafter, Henson closed the ranch and went into the salad dressing business full-time. The rest is history. Back in the 1980s, I was a busy mom raising 3 small boys, and Hidden Valley seasoning packets was my secret weapon for getting them to eat their vegetables. Then one day it occurred to me to make my own dry spice blend. How did I know what to put in it? Well, I read the ingredients list on the back of the packet. Now I just keep an index card in my pantry so that I can pull the spices right off my rack and make Hidden Valley ranch dressing in about 30 seconds. Minced garlic, minced onion, dried chives, Italian seasoning blend, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, celery salt, and white pepper. Everything goes into the bowl with 1 cup of buttermilk and 1 cup of mayonnaise. I just stir these together until they're really smooth and everything is well blended. I don't even use a whisk. I'm going to transfer it to a food storage container, cover it, and refrigerate it for several hours or overnight to let all the flavors marinate, and it'll thicken up a whole lot too. I'm just trimming the ends off of 3 or 4 8-inch young tender zucchini, cutting them in half and cutting each half into quarters, which are going to make beautiful spears for deep frying. I've set up what I like to call a deep frying assembly line. In a flat pan for my dry mixture, I put some pancake mix. In a big bowl, I put some more pancake mix, and I whisked it together with beer because I love the yeasty taste that beer adds to this batter. And I whisk it until it's smooth. If you have an aversion to beer, use some club soda. In this dish, I just have an 8-ounce box of panko, crispy Japanese breadcrumbs. I sliced 6 zucchini into 8 wedges each, and all I've done is I've tossed 8 of them, 6 of them, 4 of them, whatever you want, into the dry mix. It's called dredging. I'm going to use my fork, and I'm going to dip each one of these into the batter and let the excess drizzle back into the bowl. I'm going to do 4 at a time because that's what comfortably fits in the basket of my deep fryer. Swirl these around. And now I'm just going to flip them over and coat them in the panko breadcrumbs. It's a little bit messy. Yes, you do have to wipe your hands off a little bit. My deep fryer is set according to the manufacturer's instructions to 360 degrees. Just going to lift out my basket. Pop 4 of these right into the basket. Drop them in and let them cook for exactly 3 minutes. If you're looking at a garden full of zucchini today, make the best of it. Invite a few friends over for happy hour. Serve them my crunch-alicious deep-fried zucchini with my Hidden Valley Happy Valley Ranch dressing and an ice-cold beer. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
I gotta tell you, I'm no fan of ranch dressing myself. Blue cheese, all the way. But Mel sure knows how to whip my taste buds into a frenzy. When we come back, it's time for a summer tradition with a Texas twist, as I hang out at the Boalsburg Military Museum on this gorgeous Sunday morning. Oh hey, you're back. They say everything is bigger and better in Texas, and the same goes for Mel's Kitchen. It's now time to fire up the grill and skillet to get you in the mood for some stretch run baseball.
Texas-style chili dogs are slathered in yellow ballpark mustard and topped with a chunky all-meat chili sauce. People think they were invented in Texas, but they weren't. They were invented in 1924 in Paterson, New Jersey by a Greek immigrant who used spices and flavorings from his own heritage. Because he used hand-ground steak to make his chili sauce instead of store-bought ground beef, it got its Texas nickname. Because Texas-style chili dogs freeze so well, I always make a big batch. And I like to use London broil. This is what's going to give it its signature chewy to-the-tooth texture. I've cubed 3 pounds of London broil and put it in my food processor. And I'm going to use about 30 pulses to grind this to a nice, fine mix. If you don't have a big food processor like this, you can do this in separate batches. And before I did my meat, I also did 3 pounds of yellow onion and 3/4 of a pound of celery the exact same way. I've placed all of my minced ground steak in a big wide-bottom 7-quart skillet, and I've added all of that minced onion, and now I'm adding all of that wonderful celery. I'm going to stir this really thoroughly to get all the ingredients mixed together, and then I'm going to turn the heat on and I'm going to let it simmer, just a gentle simmer but a steady simmer, for an hour to an hour and a half until almost all of the liquid has evaporated from the bottom of the pan. And don't worry so much about the time it takes. It's more important that the liquid evaporate from the bottom of the pan. This has been simmering for about an hour and 15 minutes, and you could see how there's almost no liquid in the bottom of the pan. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to let this mixture brown. And now making Texas-style chili sauce couldn't be easier. We're going to add a cup and a half of regular ketchup, a cup and a half of chili sauce, 6 tablespoons of ballpark mustard, 6 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 6 tablespoons of cayenne pepper sauce, 3 tablespoons of chili powder, and the Greek secret, a teaspoon and a half of ground cloves. I'm going to stir this one all again together, and we're going to let this simmer on the stovetop for about 45 minutes to another hour until it's all thickened. And after that, ideally, you remove it from the heat, cover the pan, and let it sit for an hour or two to let all of the spices marry together. Back in 2007, America's Test Kitchen in Boston, the publishers of Cook's Illustrated and Cook's Country magazines, chose my Texas-style chili recipe to appear in their America's Best Lost cookbook. This was an honor because all of the recipes that appear in this book don't appear in any other cookbooks. So, the next time you're enjoying America's favorite pastime, pass the time eating one of my real deal chili dogs. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
As an Eastern Pennsylvanian myself, I could assure you that those chili dogs are top notch. And if you're a fan of baseball, don't forget to check out your State College Spikes right here at 6:05 tonight on WHVL. Hope we could borrow 10 more minutes of your time because coming up we have a sweet and tart treat that's perfect for any late summer picnic. Time now to close another edition of our resident foodie Mel Prosciutti here on the center of it all. Apple, cherry, key lime pies get all the love, but we have a perfect summer treat for any starlit night on your back deck.
There's a certain satisfaction in teaching people how to love a misunderstood ingredient. Rhubarb is one such ingredient. Sometimes referred to as the pie vegetable, this sort of celery-looking like unruly plant has all of the same flavor you love in a tart apple and a sour cherry. So pucker up. Today, I'm showing you how to make a straight-up rhubarb pie that's going to make you forget about Grandma's apple pie. Let's get started. We can't bake pie without a pie crust. And I've got my favorite recipe all rolled out and in a 9-inch pie dish. There's two kinds of pies, or I should say two ways of baking a pie. You put uncooked ingredients in an unbaked pie shell, and you put them in the oven to bake for 50, 60, or even 75 minutes. The second way is you put cooked ingredients into a semi-baked pie shell and you bake it for a much shorter time in the oven, about 30 or 35 minutes. That's what we're going to do today. In order to semi-bake this pie shell, which is technically called blind baking or baking blind, you put your pie shell in your pie dish just the way you always do. You're going to prick the bottom of it liberally with a fork. You're going to prick the sides of the crust too, all the way around the dish. And then you put either a piece of parchment or a piece of aluminum foil in the bottom. And I like to use parchment paper. Once that's in the bottom, you have to weight the pie shell. And by weighting, I mean with pie weights, with beans, or with what I call a pie chain. And you need about a pound of beans or a pound of pie weights. These are 4 ounces apiece. And the reason I like pie chains is because when this comes out of the oven and it's really, really hot, these are the easiest to remove because with a simple fork, like picking up spaghetti, you can pull them all out in a strand. Now I'm just going to pop this in a 425-degree oven for about 6 minutes, and while it bakes, we're going to make our streusel topping. Streusel is the German word that means something sprinkled or scattered, and to us bakers it means a topping for a pie or even a muffin that's scattered over the top. The 3 basic ingredients to a streusel are butter, sugar, and flour. And beyond that, you can add a few other things, and I've added some oats, uncooked rolled oats, and cinnamon. And I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of butter in here. And using a handheld pastry blender, these things work great, and a sharp knife, I'm going to start, and this is called cutting in the shortening. And I'm just going to keep cutting my butter in, and I like to clear my pastry brush using a sharp knife until this mixture forms coarse, pea-sized little crumbs. That looks just about right. How easy was that? I'm just going to set this aside, get my pie crust out of the oven, and I'm going to move over to the stove to make our pie filling. Cooked pie fillings are really easy to make, and they come in handy when you have a whole lot of fruit. For instance, I cut 8 pounds of rhubarb yesterday, and I'm going to take a big pot tomorrow morning, and I'm going to make this pie filling, and I'm going to portion it into 6-cup containers and freeze it so that I can enjoy rhubarb pie all winter long. Today, I've put 2 pounds of 1-inch cut rhubarb in a 4-quart stock pot. We're going to turn that on medium. I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of water that's been mixed with a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And now I'm going to add some sugar, some salt, some flour, and 2 tablespoons of tapioca. You can use cornstarch, but tapioca is a trick that my grandmother taught me. For the same creamy deliciousness it does in puddings, it's going to do to this pie filling. That's all there is to it. I'm going to mix this around. And in the beginning, it's a little bit unruly because the rhubarb is in big chunks and you really want it to be in big chunks and pieces. Now we're going to turn this up to high and bring it to a boil. When it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn the temperature down and I'm going to let this simmer for about 6 to 8 minutes. And it's just going to make its own. It's going to make a thick pie filling. Well, this took just a little bit over 8 minutes today, but you can see what a beautiful, thick pie filling this is. And because I left the rhubarb in big chunks, you know that there's still a lot of texture to them. Well, I'm going to turn this off and we're going to move back over to the kitchen counter and fill our pie. I've put all of my pie filling into my semi-baked pie crust. It's thick, it's beautiful, it smells wonderful. Now all I have to do is spoon my streusel topping over the top, and it's exactly what it's supposed to be, sprinkled all over the top, as evenly as we can get it. All those big pieces of butter, flavored with cinnamon. You want to try to get it down into all the corners. You want to, let me set this down a second, kind of make sure you work your way into all the little corners of the pie crust. I think that's just about, okay, just a little bit more on this spot. That's just about perfect. Now I'm going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, just until the juices start to bubble. Let it cool a little bit, and then we're going to eat. It's not easy being green, but it sure is delicious. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
Well, folks, I guess that's why you shouldn't judge a plant by its cover. If you have a suggestion for Mel, let her know on her blog at kitchenencounters.typepad.com, and let us know as well on our Facebook page or our Twitter, because like the M60 behind me, we're always looking for a big hit. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day.